Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, blessed and loving viewers. You are watching MTA International Africa, and this is your program, Islam and Society, coming to you from our studios in Freetown, Sierra Leone. In Islam and Society, we look at those problems affecting human society, be them individual, spiritual, moral, political, economic, and of course, we give Islam's simple, rational, and applicable solutions. Today, we are discussing having children out of wedlock, which is a very, very, very bad thing in the human society. Of course, in the prophecies related to the latter days, our beloved Master, the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, has mentioned this aspect of immorality to be very common amongst human beings in those days. Our style, you know, to do the justice and make the program the success you are expecting, we always have two learned scholars from the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Sierra Leone, mostly missionaries. And for today's discussion, I have on my immediate right, Brother Munir Abubakar Yusuf, and next to him, Brother Hassan. Brothers, once again, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Islam and Society. Well, we are discussing having children out of wedlock, which is a very, very, very bad, issue of morality. As usual, we took our cameras to the street to find out what was the opinion of the man out there. If we'll just see what they had to say.
The topic he asked about childbirth before marriage is a very broad topic, a very big topic, which in Africa here, it is more common to see early marriage or childbirth before marriage because I am a victim. I am one. So like I know how it feels after giving a birth and trying to, it's like when someone falls, you want to pick up yourself to hit the road, to get to your destination. You find it very difficult. You find it very hard. And it takes the grace and the love of God or people around you to motivate you. But here in Africa, we lack those people. We lack mentor. Someone who will motivate you to pick up yourself, to dust yourself up, to be the someone who you're supposed to be. That is very, very difficult.
Picking before marriage. At times you look at it and say in good, but in God's own side, not good. Because before you're born picking first, if you prepare yourself, married in legal way, when you're allowed to God and to man, then you born you picking. When you born like picking yourself, it will be allowed to everybody, to God and to man, and you picking will go well.
One of the things I know when the biggest challenge in salon, like okay, because we talk about Sierra Leone now. These are the biggest challenge. You understand me? Because some man and they born picking now without married, and when he give belly, past the parent and begin pressure the man say go marry this picking, and some man and they not even married. He just go put small money say, okay, this woman go engage him. You understand me? And from there now, sometimes go born 7 picking, 8 picking without no married. Now so you get for end up take go no married no day. And then picking and they not do good in the sight of God. Believe in because you don't born now. Because Islam say if a married woman before you born picking. And if you go born now before you married picking, so how you call them picking and they?
Maulvi Sahab, everybody is raising a black flag, very negative opinion. What do you have to say?
They are right to have children, to give birth to a child outside wedlock. Is still frowned at in the African society. And it's really, really not a good precedence.
Brother Hassan.
Yeah, Africans, we uphold moral values and traditions, which are very much close to our heart. So issues of such nature, it is against the true spirit of the Africanness of the African. So it is not one that is being condoled in our society. So that is why we've had what we've had right now concerning having children before birth, having children, I beg your pardon, before marriage.
Mm-hmm. And in our African society, when it happens like that, the stigma is very, very strong. Yeah. At times, it is even related to the family, especially from where the girl, comes from, that family in future, ladies of that family will find it very difficult in, getting men to propose marriage to them because they will say, it's a family of immorality. Well, this is Islam and society. And like I mentioned, it is in the prophecies of our beloved Master, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as one of the signs of the latter days. But Maulvi Sahab, if I can come to you on the Holy Quran on this issue.
MashaAllah. You know, the Holy Quran is the guidelines for human life. We know it's the best and the perfect. And the Holy Quran has really taught Muslims in detail regarding marriage, regarding childbirth, and the spirit of having children before marriage. First of all, most of the thing that leads to this fear is adultery. And the Holy Quran has cut the root to adultery by saying, the Holy Quran say, La taqrabu zina. Do not approach, do not come near to adultery. Innahu kana fahisha, because it is an indecency, was a sabila, and it is an evil road to follow. So if fornication is not taking place, if there is no adultery, then it is not possible, to have child outside wedlock, except with special grace of Allah, like what happens to Mary, mother of Jesus, alayhi salam, which the Holy Quran also gave explanation to that fact. And when you carefully examine the Holy Quran, here the Holy Quran talking about walida, that is the mother who bears the child. The Holy Quran also will talk about mauludu lahu, meaning the father. So both responsibilities should be there, and both personalities should be there representing the child. And we see that according to the Holy Quran, when a child is born outside wedlock, godly people, righteous people become concerned. Why is it happening? We learned that in Surah Maryam, when Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam, when she saw the dream in which the angel told him that you will be delivering a baby child, a son. Mary marveled. She said, Anna yakunu li walad. How is it possible for me to have a child? Walam yamsasni al-bashar. Why no man has ever touched me. Walam aku baghiya. And I'm not, unchaste woman. I'm not a prostitute. I'm a holy person. Meaning, you should not have a child if you are not married. To have a child outside marriage is very unquestionable in Islam. And even when Mary, bear the child, and she came home, and the people saw her with the child, the society becomes a concern. They say, "Qalu ya Maryam, laqad jiti shay'an fariya." Oh Maryam, you have done a heinous thing. Yes. How is it possible for you to come with a child to us? We don't know the father. In fact, your father, your own father, was a righteous person. Similarly, your mother was also an authority of justice. They were all righteous people. You have brought a shame on us as a family, as a community, as a nation. This should not happen. So you see that in the light of the Holy Quran, this should be not just an individual concern, but a concern of the family, ideal family, a concern of the community and of a nation, that people should not bear children outside wedlock.
Yes. Unfortunately, in nations that are, Islamic State, this, ill is quite, less as compared to secular societies where, it is democracy or some other form of governance which does not go in accordance with Islamic Sharia like in Islamic states. Brother Hassan.
Looking at it from that perspective, it must be clear that we get clear guidance, like he has mentioned, from the Holy Quran and also from the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in respect of what we are discussing now. And the vehicle for one to indulge in this action, which is heinous, that is through what he mentioned, adultery, as well as fornication, which in itself, it is something that is bad, and Islam strongly kick against it. This is the reason why the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has mentioned that anybody that will guarantee me what is between his legs, I will also guarantee him paradise. So it means, as believers, as Muslims, we have to be chaste we have to guard what is between the legs, and we know that is the vehicle for fornication and adultery. So in essence, therefore, it is something that is bad. It is something that society must do away with. And not only that, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that when somebody commits adultery, he casts away his neck from the bond that ties him to Islam. So this is very, very much bad. In the sight of Islam and in the sight of God Almighty, it's like you are depriving yourself of the benefit and the essence of Islam. It is also recorded in the books of tradition that at the time of the Miraj of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is a spiritual journey that he embarked on, and during that period, he was shown by the angel Jibril categories of people who were being punished because of their heinous crimes that they committed when they were on earth. And at that time, according to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said the angel took him to a certain group of people, and he saw them, they were swollen, and their bodies were emitting a kind of foul smell. So upon inquiry to the angel, that's who are these people who are being punished in this way? The angel told him that these are people who are indulged in the act of fornication and in the act of adultery. So all this put together, it clearly paints the perfect picture that indeed this action, it is very much untenable. It is against religion. It is even against a normal society. It is against, the morals of our values, what we cherish, what we so much value. So in essence, therefore, if one does not indulge in this action, then definitely you will not get children before marriage. So you have to contract marriage at least before you venture to produce children.
Jazakumullah, Brother Hassan. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu has been very emphatical, like you said, on the management of chastity, for every individual, especially those who are Muslims, be they, men or women. Make sure that you manage your chastity in such a way that you do not trample on that dignity which God has given you. And Maulvi Sahab, brothers, it pricks my heart when I see, ladies being victimized. I always say, if a woman understands the dignity and prestige that Allah has created her with, she will never ever offer herself, on a sacrifice of an illegal type. She will always want to do that, on the altar of matrimony in the proper way. Well, we are Africans, and looking at the African society today, we are also not free from this ill. So if I could come to you, Maulvi Sahab, what's the impact of this ill in the African society today?
Well, when you actually look at having children outside wedlock in Africa, as Islam strongly condemned it, and African historically was influenced by the teachings of Islam before the penetration of the secular concepts to a very large extent. So that is why you see in Africa, even in those days, the society really frowned at this ill luck that for a woman to have a child, because it's most often happened with the women.
Yes.
Hardly you can see that happen, a child belonging to a man, without marrying that woman. Because the woman carries the pregnancy, and the woman gives the child to the male counterpart. So the African society used to completely frown at it. That was the reason, even when you see children from illegitimate birth, they never have the complete right as the legitimate children in the family, in the society.
So a degree of discrimination is meted out against them.
Yes, most paramount is when it comes to the ruling family. You know, the paramount chiefs, the African societies, we are having the culture that one man could have married women as much as he could. So especially the paramount chief, they may have 50, 60, 70 wives. So they know they are the wives of the paramount chief. That was okay. But if the paramount chief happens to, you know, get affair with a woman who he did not marry, okay, and they have the child because of his position, and they say, now, okay, you can take this woman and make it your wife. They will accept. And that child will continue to be discriminated. And when it comes to a time to stand for that position, like the father has passed away and now the children want to contest, they have a special ceremony to perform. On that declaration, everybody is going to explain his own birth. And other will explain your birth, how you belong to that father.
So that automatically disqualifies the illegitimate son.
Exactly. When it comes to light that your father did not marry your mother officially,
it was out of wedlock.
Before your birth, it was out of wedlock. Then finally, you have no right to that to that throne. So the moment it comes to light that you are born outside wedlock,
you are
definitely you are disqualified. You will not get access to that throne anymore.
Yeah.
And your own children as well. So even if you
so the stigma continues.
Will continue to the children and children's children, because they know that your father or your grandfather was not a legal child of this family. And you will continue to live with them, but you will never have that equal right like the legitimate children. So that was what we are having even in society, like even the religious leaders. If they know your history, that you are not a legitimate child, you know, to lead people in prayers, they stigmatize at this way, they frown at them. So that was the practice in African society. Although things has been changing, you know, due to other influences, that the African societies are not frowning truly as it used to be.
An old lady told me once that, you know, very long time ago, if a girl was found pregnant out of wedlock, that even the mother risked losing her marriage, that it was such a heinous crime in the African society that the mother of that child could be driven out of her matrimonial home, because the emphasis on taking care of the family lies heavily on the mothers than the fathers who are out there, you know, seeking for the daily bread and other necessities for the family. Yes, Hassan Sahib, still looking at our African society, I'm sure you have something to add to that.
Yeah, indeed. He has beautifully explained what used to prevail in the past. But looking at Africa in the 21st century now, in respect of what we are discussing, having children before marriage, it is the other way around. Now, first, like you mentioned, it used to be a taboo, something abominable. But now it is somehow becoming the norm, becoming the rule, rather than it's no longer the exception. It is something being accepted readily, you know, by society. I don't know what has happened. You know, those values, those traditions he was explaining, it's like slowly.
Well, the world is a global village, and you know, there's this intermixing of, you know, cultural values. Yeah, everything has been bastardized.
Yeah, that is another very important factor, probably that is responsible for what we are seeing today. And the other thing that is also very much important that we must pinpoint here is the fact that society really readily accepts the situation, and now even there are a lot of barriers being placed on marriage, and some men see it as a burden, as a task, something very much huge and difficult, because some parents nowadays prefer men that do have money. And sometimes when a man proposes marriage for their daughter, you know, a lot of excuses will come. So, but those same men will go another way around, that if they impregnate the girl, then you notice that the family will say, okay, now go to your husband. Since that you want a man, so go. So the men are using this way now to go around. Instead of going direct through marriage, they go through impregnating the girls. When once that happens, then the family says, okay, go to your husband and stay with them. So this is also another factor, which also
adultery and fornication has been weaponized now.
Yes, as a tool in this regard. And also there are certain countries that have passed into law that if you stay with a woman for up to 5 years, right? That woman now legally is yours, belongs to you legally. So you can imagine what must have happened in the period of that 5 years before she becomes legally your wife. So, and we've seen a lot of children are being produced from this same relationship onto that 5 year. So these are all things, if we put together, it's obvious that now a lot of homes, a lot of families are being created out of wedlock. Children are being born before marriage, you know, between their fathers and their mothers in society, because it is something being accepted now, and societies do not frown at it again. They see it, well, somehow welcoming. Yeah,
it is even common, Brother Sahib, that you see the man and the woman coming together, you know, sometimes with the approval of few family members, that we can understand how they are moving, they are friends.
Okay.
So they will stay together and reproduce children, and they will train up the children up to university. The children will start working before the father and the mother will decide to do the official marriage.
Yes.
So at that time now you will see even they will be taxing the children. Yeah, your father want to marry, so come with money. And without any remorse, without any shame, they don't feel embarrassed.
Not at
they
all.
come forward. You see the children attending the marriage of their fathers and mother at the same time.
Something which they should have done even before they get such children.
In the past, it was a real taboo, but nowadays it is a very common norm.
Jazakumullah, brothers. Islam emphasizes that men and women should guard their views. There should not be intermixing of men and women. Like Molviu said, the emphasis from the Holy Quran is very strong that you should not go close to these kinds of indecencies. In some other places of the Holy Quran, the Quran, especially talking to young people, you know, who are energetic at that age, say, you should keep a fast. You know, that will prevent you from going close to these kinds of things. Well, in 1986, someone asked the fourth Caliph, Rahimullah, what was the position of illegitimate children in Islam. This was what he had to say.
What Islam says about the illegitimate children and about their rights, or the rights of children.
Well, Islam says that they should not be born, but once they come into existence, nobody has a right to take their life or treat them differentially or in any way to put them to any, a second-rate position as far as the right of living is concerned, as far as human dignity is concerned. Neither the Holy Quran nor Hadith throws even the remotest reflection on the illegitimately born children as far as their dignity, human dignity is concerned. They do not share any crime of their parents, and they are as noble citizens of Islamic society as others.
But they are taken for infrahuman creature in Islamic society.
Pardon?
They are taken for infrahuman creature in Islamic societies.
Which is, don't say Islamic society. Islamic society is woven around the principles laid down in the Holy Quran. Not in an Arab country or in a Turkish country or any other country of the world. What do you mean by Islamic society? As I understand the term, it should be a society built on the Holy Quran and the tradition of the Holy Prophets of Islam. I know no other Islamic society. So if a Muslim society has deviated from the clear-cut Islamic principles, why nobody has a right to call that society an Islamic society? And if you go by such misnomer, then everywhere Islamic society will be presenting a different picture. In some countries, Islamic society would be different, and in some others, quite different from that one, and so on and so forth.
So we had what Fourth Caliph said, that it's better for people to stay away from producing a legal child. If you want a child, you must do it in wedlock. But then if the child is produced, then there should be no stigma on that child. That child should be raised up, given the proper guidance, and he will have the free will, to respond to the commandments of Almighty Allah as he has been guided, or he does otherwise. So brothers, it's good to have you on this program. This is all the time we have for in this program. And we hope that our blessed and loving viewers have enjoyed this episode of Islam and Society. Until next time, we say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.